Why does marriage and kids feel like a trap to me? Why does it feel like something that I don't know if I should do? It feels like a trap.
Oh, honey, the reason why it feels like a trap to you is because it is. You know, they say if it works like a talk, it talks like a dog, it is a talk. Yes, marriage and childbirth, it works like a trap. It talks like a trap because it is a trap. Marriage and having children are two of the most successful Ponzi schemes ever run on women. Yes, because how did men and society convince us that living in servitude to a man is a flex? How did they convince us that risking our lives to bring children into the world, only for the children to be seen as properties of the man because the child will bear the man's name? But you, the woman, are the one who is responsible not just to bring the child into the world, but also to raise the child from when he's little until he's an adult. And all the responsibilities of raising that child falls on you. But you should be the one who should be grateful because that man did not just choose you, he made you a mother. He chose you to be the mother of his kids. So, yes, marriage and having kids is not just a trap for women, it is also the biggest scam ever run on earth. Let's get right into the video.
Why does marriage and kids feel like a trap to me? Why does it feel like something that I don't know if I should do? It feels like a trap. It feels like as soon as I do it, my life is taken away from me. That's exactly how it feels. But if I'm being super transparent, another part of me is like, maybe I should do it because I don't want to be the one auntie left out at the dinner table with no husband and no kids. And everyone's looking at me like, is she a weirdo? Is she someone that can't get a man? Is it, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be at the table being pitied, but I also don't want to, like, have permanent damage to my life. Because right now, kids seem like permanent damage. I'm not even going to lie. There's not one positive thing I can think about having a kid in general. And I really want to feel like there's one positive thing that I feel like having a kid and getting married brings. And I know it brings like company and stuff like that, but like past that, what does it bring?
Honestly, the only tool that men and society have left to make women desire marriage and children is shame and exclusion. Because they can no longer force women to be dependent on men. Women are now independent of men. We can now earn our own money, have our own bank account, live our own life without being dependent on men for our literal survival. So the only tool that these men and patriarchy have to make women want to get married is shame. The shame of what will people say? The shame of I don't want to look like a weirdo. I don't want to be the only odd one out in my family. The shame of and the fear of being excluded. The fear of not being invited to family events, not being invited to certain things, not being taken seriously because let's be honest, society somehow tends to think mothers and wives more seriously than single women. All I have to say is that don't fall for that trap because it is a trap. It is a way that society and men use to shame you and exclude you into feeling that you have to have a child and you have to get married. Because if you don't do that, you are going to be excluded, you are going to be ostracized, and you are going to be shamed. So, in order to avoid these things, you should just get married and have kids and just do it for the sake of doing it so that you don't get shamed for not doing
I
it.
think we need to talk about the role of children and pregnancy in cis hetero relationships in terms of how narcissistic, toxic, lazy, selfish, entitled, shitty men use children to trap a woman in their life. Now, we talk about this in the context of family planning and abortion access because we do know that men will sabotage birth control to get women pregnant in order to trap them. The baby is a chain linking them together forever. But if you see those Reddit videos of the guy running and getting the gold coins and they're reading aloud the Reddits, women are not having their birth control sabotaged. They're being manipulated by a partner, by a cishet male partner, into having a family and having the kids, and then as soon as he's secure and settled in the fact that she's trapped, then it all comes off and he's cheating, he's weaponizing his incompetence and his mediocrity. He's doing all sorts of weird, boring, shitty stuff that when these women post, you're just like, why did you have children with this man? Leave him. And everyone's saying, divorce, divorce, leave him. But women, cis women and moms know that it's not that simple when he's trapped you with a baby. Because men's rights activists and misogynists try to be like, oh, the courts favor women in divorce and custody cases. If men ask for 50-50 custody, they get it. Like, the courts are like, cool, you want to be in your kid's life? That's awesome. So all a toxic man has to do is ask the court for 50-50 custody in order to still force himself into this woman's life. He uses the children as a chain. Now, obviously, the core CTA on this is to smash the patriarchy and ensure that women have access to resources to get out of those bad housing situations and also secure full custody of their kids so that they can protect them from this toxic, shitty man. But there are other CTAs, and I'm not talking about for the women who find themselves trapped. I mean for just us out and about. We need, especially other cishet men, to start getting on the men in our lives who are exhibiting behaviors, particularly weaponized incompetence and weaponized mediocrity. Because I'm not saying that these dudes are all necessarily evil, but they have been indoctrinated by a toxic culture to use and possess women like objects and servants. We gotta change it.
Do you know why the narcissist wants you pregnant immediately? It's because pregnancy is one of their most effective way of keeping you trapped. When you are pregnant, it becomes 10 times harder for you to leave. And the more children you have, the more it becomes harder for you to leave them because you are not their first rodeo. They know that you will leave. So the best way to trap you is to keep you stuck by making you reproduce. That's why you can just, you might just have given birth and the next thing they're talking about, and let's just born all these children once now. And then you just get pregnant. They don't care about your health. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about what your body is going through. They just care about keeping you trapped. Because it's one of the effective ways they can keep you stuck in the abuse. That's why they are aggressively obsessed with reproduction. It's not because they love children. They don't. It's not because they want to care about those children. They don't care. Because once you have children with them, it's a lifelong tie. It doesn't matter whether you go and remarry, you are forever tied to them. That's the honest, sad truth. Have you not noticed that when you leave the narcissist, the next person they meet, they immediately impregnate that person? And it's not just if they leave that one, the next person they will impregnate that person because they need to be forever tied. They need they are like soul suckers. They need to gather souls, and one of the ways they do it is through childbearing. So if you get with somebody and they're telling you, hey, let's just have a child, let's just have a baby, don't romanticize that idea. Because for narcissists, pregnancy is not love, it's possession. Children are a tool for them to further control you. If your guts is uneasy about how fast they are pushing the idea of childbearing, run, no. Protect your body, protect your future, protect your mind. Love does not rush you into reproduction. It is control that will do that to you.
I love what she said right here, that love does not rush you into reproduction. It is control that does. Because these men like to romanticize having their babies and sell this whole idea of motherhood and, oh, you are the one that I choose to be the mother of my kids to women. On the contrary, there is nothing special about him choosing you to be the mother of his kids. Even if he marries you before he gets you pregnant, there is nothing special about it. Trust me, that man probably have babies out there with other women that is not taking care of. The whole idea of, oh, I'm the chosen one because he picked me out of all these women to have his baby is a lie. On the contrary, you are the most unfortunate of all the other women because you are the one that got picked. You are the one that got picked with the burden of being trapped and tied to him forever. You are the one that got picked with the burden of having to be his literal slave at his service and back and call anytime he wants because you are forever tied with this man now that you have his
I
baby.
feel like in patriarchy, I'll never know if my husband's excitement about my pregnancy is from genuine care or the subconscious relief that he finally trapped me for real.
Abuse comes in many forms. It's not always about putting your hands on someone or verbally abusing someone. It sometimes can be disguised so good that to a person that's not really aware, they will never even think that there's something weird going on. Now, pregnancy is a beautiful thing. Children are beautiful. Yes, family. I love family. But one thing that is weird to me is when you see a woman just give birth and then they're automatically pregnant again. When you get pregnant, your doctor will give you a time frame in which it is appropriate for you to have a baby again. And it's usually like a year or a year and some months. Just for your body to heal naturally and, just for you to have a safe delivery if you do decide to get pregnant again. But I want to bring this to the forefront. I want to bring awareness to reproductive abuse because it is very, very real. While a lot of people look up to this relationship and, they wish that their man would treat them like this. And, you have to stop believing everything that you see on the internet. Because as much as this man talks about how you should treat a woman and everything like that, why was she running to a neighbor's house early in the morning because he put his hands on her? Begging the lady to call the police. Everything that glitters is not gold, you guys. And the image that they're selling you on the internet is definitely not the same image that it is on the internet versus off of the internet.
Many mamas that I talk to have a common theme where their absent father of their children wanted the baby more than they did. Now, how does this make sense? You wanted the baby more, but now you're absent. I'll tell you why. Because they never wanted the baby. They wanted you. They wanted a permanent string between you and him that he could always yank on and always count on to have access to you. I did not understand this when I met my son's father. I genuinely thought the man was in love with me. I genuinely believed he wanted to start a family with me. I apparently was Boo-Boo the fool because my son is now 10 months old. This man has not shown up once. Not once. He's never held his son. He's never experienced his laughter. He's never seen him grow. Nothing. He hasn't even sent a diaper, a wipe, an outfit. He hasn't even sent toys, cheap ass toys, nothing. And this man convinced me that having a baby together would be amazing. And I wanted to be a mother again. I wanted another child, but this desire was, buried because I didn't trust. I had a terrible experience with my daughter's father, and I didn't want to experience that again. But this man gave me so many trust signals. Anyways, I say all that to say that a man wanting to get you pregnant is absolutely not an indication that he actually wants to have children or that he has the spirit of fatherhood. Men often only want to get you pregnant because of the control, because of the permanent access. Some of these niggas miscalculate. Some of us don't play that unmitigated access to us. I'm not one of those. Both of my baby daddies know that you can't just come around here playing with me. And because they can't just come around here and play with me, they're both fully absent. They both wanted these kids. But they didn't. They only wanted access to me permanently.
At this point, a man telling you that he wants to have kids with you or he wants to have a family should be a red flag. It should be a blazing red flag because these men don't want to be parents. Yes, they want to have kids, but they don't want to parent the kids. So if he's telling you he wants to have kids, particularly if he's telling you he wants to have kids by you specifically, that man is simply looking for a way to trap you, to tie you down, and to have unlimited access to you. That man is simply looking for a way to ensure that he does not just have unlimited access to you, but also that he has a way that he can control you. Because these men do not just see these kids as anchors or as traps for these women. They also see these kids as remote control. They can easily use these kids to control you. If that man wants to derail your career, your education, your business, whatever, that man can easily use that kid to do that. Because that man knows that socially he is not expected to be the one raising the kids. No, you are. You, the woman, are the one who is expected by society to be the one doing the day-to-day rearing of that child. So that man can easily just relax and leave you to be responsible for everything related to the child care as a way to derail your career, stop you from getting your education, or sabotage your business. These men do not see these children the way we as mothers and as women do. These men see these children as tools. Yes, tools to get things done, to accomplish what they want to do. And they do this with the confidence of knowing that once they can succeed in getting you pregnant, every other thing is done. Society is going to help him in accomplishing every other aim that he wants to accomplish with you. If that man is having that kid with you in order to trap you in a relationship, particularly if it's an abusive relationship, society is going to help him with that. Society is going to pressure you. Society is going to tell you, what about the kids? Think about the kids. Do you want your kids to grow up without a father in the home? Society is going to aid him in accomplishing his aim. If the man wants to have unlimited access to you even after the relationship has ended, society is still going to aid him in accomplishing that aim. Society is going to tell you, oh, you are alienating this child from his father, you are being a bitter baby mama, you are keeping this man away from his child, and you are going to feel pressure to continue to give that man access to you, because access to your child is also access to you. If that man wants to control you, whether it be when you are in the relationship with him or even after that relationship with him, they are going to say that that man has the right to have knowledge and control over his child's environment. And that simply means that man also has the right to have knowledge and control over you and your environment also. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you found it interesting and subscribe to the channel to support me. Also, don't forget to check out the videos in the playlist right here. Bye.